Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ProPoke. I hate you so much. I hate you so much. Yeah, I hope you choke on that. I hope you choke on it, buddy.
I did.
Good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ProPokePodcast. My name is ProPokeNoob, and we are here a month later after Season 5 ended. Hi.
Oh,
Gamma,
no,
hi.
No. Hi.
What do you mean they know? Of course they know.
Yeah, they know.
They've known for
We're
a
just
while.
gonna pretend Gen 8 don't exist right now, so.
Yeah, that's the reason. Actually, it is kind of the reason, to be dead honest with you. Yeah, hey. Hi, guys. How's it going? For all of the future thousands of adoring fans listening to a podcast about a tournament that may have happened 20 years ago, welcome back.
They have records.
This is, I guess, the end of Season 5. This is the end of the ProPokePodcast for Season 5. That's the name of the episode. That's we're here. We're in, and everything's been done, said and done. We have a conclusion. We had semifinals and finals. We did semifinals and finals live on twitch.tv/ProPokeNoob if you want to go see it. It is in the collection section of my Twitch channel, just to get a really quick plug in there. But, yeah, Gamma, it was a season. We had a surprising end, and
Surprising.
Well, it was surprising with the scores of the results.
Well, yeah.
But
Not say, told you so.
I was gonna. Okay, fine. You take the. Now you just sound dickish because I was gonna be nice and be like, I'm gonna commend Gamma for having great faith in the champion, where I went with consistency. But no, Gamma had to just step in, take everything, and say,
Listen,
I'm right. Smiley face.
Not my fault the kidneys were right. That's all I'm saying.
Your kidneys barely function.
You're not wrong.
I'm throwing kinesiology at you, man. Your kidneys are
diabetes.
just functional. Nah, unfortunate. Really is. However,
yeah.
that has nothing to do with Pokemon, so let's just
It
talk.
doesn't.
Congratulations to Coach SharKing319 of the Traverse City Thunderous, who took first place, took the championship cup, well, digitally home, I guess. We'll have his name in the duck for all of eternity. He did a phenomenal job throughout the season. I think really after week 10, we're looking at everyone playing each other and how we had Fortnite Ninjas in first place the entire time with only Traverse City Thunders being barely behind, but with the showing that he had against his essentially his main competition.
Rival.
Yeah, I guess.
Close enough.
Yeah, okay, rival, sure. But yeah, after seeing I played Gen 8.
Yeah.
Who's rival?
Look at all those rivals.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I've played Pokemon. We call those rivals. Yeah, we after we saw that, went to playoffs and said, okay, yeah, maybe this is Shark King's thing to lose, and lo and behold, it was, and he took it. 3-2 in the finals. The semifinals went the way we pretty much thought it was going to. Fortnite Ninjas and obviously Traverse City Thunders met in the finals. We're not going to do too much analysis. There's no real point. It's been a month later. All of the battles and everything are VODed and archived if you want to go to the official players sheet. I'm actually going to put up a link eventually to all of the old coaches sheets so that everyone could take a look at the videos and go watch, the progression of the metagame and trades and stuff like that. You guys can see the progress. You guys, if you ever rejoin and the same coaches come back, you can kind of take a look at their banning history, their trading history, stuff like that. All of that's going to be accessible, and I'm going to write that down before I forget that.
That's a good idea. Look, just write that note.
Archive.
Put those up.
What?
Put those things up.
I'm just going to write that down. Put those things up. Look at it a week from now and be like, what? What am I doing?
Put them right up there.
What? I don't want an archive up my nose.
Don't you want to smell the archive?
No.
It's going to smell amazing.
It's going to smell like 2016 Noob. I don't want it to smell like 2016 Noob.
Oh, God.
Not saying anything wrong. I shower. But back then I worked out a lot more, so if you caught me when I wasn't, very rare. Gamma, how was Season 5 for you as a whole? You've seen a couple of ProPokeBowls now. You've experienced it quite a bit and have seen a lot transpire throughout multiple metagames. How'd you like How'd you like the Ultra Sun Ultra Moon metagame for for Season 5?
I enjoyed it. I actually had somewhat of... I was able to understand most of it. I'm not usually the most competitive person, but seeing what I had before from just playing the games myself and seeing how the metagame kind of fleshed out, and then seeing how it transferred over to a draft tournament was pretty interesting. Although I did kind of see that the stronger Pokemon did make it through like they probably would have in a regular tournament, but no, it was a lot of fun. Everybody tried their hardest. Everybody was cool, and I'm glad. I'm sure everybody had fun. I had a lot of fun. Everybody watching had a lot of fun, and yeah, no, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy in this tournament. Definitely a lot of energy.
Very much energy.
Nice face. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, I feel like this was the season, even though we kept saying it nonstop. We're going to say it one more time. You can waggle your eyebrows all you want, Gamma. It's not going to matter. I'm going to say it one more time. I think the direction that the tournament took in Season 5 in terms of the organization, in terms of the production, in terms of everything that we have, I believe firmly that this is a good step forward. Like most things that we've done in 2019 on the channel.
It's a large step up.
It's a big step up from what we had aesthetically as well as from a tournament perspective. I think a lot more information was out there, and there's a lot of growth with either collaborating and grabbing more fountains of knowledge and grabbing more resources to apply, and taking a bunch of risks and just kind of throwing a bunch of things into one season gave me it's kind of not sloppy, but it's just like you try a bunch of things at once, and then you just have to be very careful with how you tracked it, and we're going to talk about that basically in this episode. We're mostly going to be looking at the feedback that individuals gave. We're not going to name them, but thank you to everybody who did give feedback post ProPokeBowl. The forum was up for a few weeks. We had a lot of responses, and there were some very insightful things coming out because both coaches and viewers have a good say and have different perspectives, which can help me understand as an organizer what I can improve for not only the coaches themselves so that the experience is more fulfilling and fun, competitive, keeping it to be enticing to want to do more, but for the viewers as well who have a different perspective where they're just looking at the games and wanting to feel excitement, like Gamma's face right now, which is totally excited. And you can't see it, but he's giving what he calls his Twitter face. That's not your Twitter face. Anyways, he's going back to his Twitter face. So yeah, essentially from the viewer's perspective, we want to see, was there hype? Was there interest in wanting to continuously watch? Was there anything that helped them keep up with what was going on? You know, I was thinking of doing things even like newsletters and you know, quick advertisements or runbacks, like kind of reruns of things like that. But really the time just wasn't going to work out, and it ran into Extra Life prep time too. So that's a lot of work that I would like to do, but that's honestly, in order to not burn myself out from that needs a team. I need a team for that. I wish
it would
really
be a
do.
nice addition.
It would be a great addition with being able to add kind of that write up weekly. And I used to do it with Noob's Notes. That's what this actually replaced, was Noob's Notes.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. You would need a team. You're one dude. You got a lot of stuff on your plate, including this. So
I stuck with the stuff that I'm stronger at, which is speaking, not so much writing. A lot more flexibility and interaction with speaking too. I like so.
Yeah, I stick with the stuff I'm good at.
There you go.
Which is neither of those.
Wow. That's why you're here.
I can't read and I can't speak.
He actually just has a really high-end speak and spell that he types on. But then if you can't... Oh, you can type. It doesn't mean you have to write. Interesting.
I've actually been Microsoft text-to-speech this whole time.
Microsoft? You make it sound like Microsoft is a verb. You have been Microsofted. Almost sounds like what happens like when you tenderize meat. Anyways, so yeah, let's review. Let's review season 5. For those who didn't watch but are for some reason listening and have gone this many episodes in, I don't even remember what episode we're on. It doesn't matter. But for those of you who have for some reason not listened to the format that we did this season, you're weird. One over here. Second, It was a best of 3 format, or sorry, a series of 2 format, points-based system. Top 6 made it into playoffs, and then we had a single elimination round in top 6. The seeds between 3 and 6 were randomized. 1 and 2 got a bye to semifinals, and seed 1 got to choose which side of the playoffs bracket they went onto. Coaches were given teams of 12, or they were not given teams of 12. They drafted teams of 12 in the very beginning, in which case they could make trades throughout the season with the remaining Pokemon. At the same time, there was a weekly ban against their opponents after the trades were, or at the same time that trades that were being done were announced. Coaches were allowed to infinitely trade between weeks. One per week, obviously, but there was no restriction this year when it came to trading. They could play around with their team as much as they wanted. It just meant that whatever Pokemon came onto the team or left the team can never return back. So any Pokemon brought on cannot leave, and any Pokemon kicked out cannot come back. It was for the most part successful. I think we had a great amount of interesting choices. Not saying that in a sarcastic or like a protect your feelings way, but there was a lot more interaction. That's what we really wanted. And I think that it led to a lot of interesting strategy when it came between, especially the bans and the trades. I think that's where it brought a lot of tension as well as a lot of kind of mind gaming and you know, it's only in its infancy. I think the more coaches do it or the more coaches practice it, especially now we have multiple coaches with a lot of experience, the more that it happens in the tournament, I think it'll lead to much more similar like what Season 1 versus Season 5 drafting looked like. Season 1 drafting was Dagger literally picking up a sand team, and no one's like, what's the sand team? And then they all get destroyed, and now we're in Season 5 where everybody actually came out, like 10.5 out of 12 teams being phenomenally strong, so that was pretty cool to happen. Gamma, what are you showing me? What's wrong? What did it say?
I agree with that. Said.
I agree with a check? Are you
You're
playing?
supposed to say I agree with everything you said, noob.
Oh! I can hear I agree with
Sorry,
everything check.
I agree with everything, check.
Well, in that case, Roger, over.
See, I just had to change the the accent, that's all.
Why?
So.
Why'd you have to put like a really cheesy,
How's that cheesy?
like Britain 1600s walking down the street type of
It was
cheesy?
Scottish, first off.
I I'm really.
At least that's what the program said.
Yeah, and check is apparently everything I said. So
Apparently.
apparently.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, hey, you know what? Like I keep saying, this is the stuff that fills the thing. We're not gonna have a long episode today, but we are gonna talk quite a bit about these things. We gotta fill a little bit of space. Yes, Gamma.
I swear to God, I thought that was a piece of processed cheese in your hand. Like, the stuff in the plastic that's just molded from
Singles!
like goo.
Singles.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. I'm sorry.
For those who don't know, I'm holding a Post-it note with all the notes that I want to talk about, but apparently I'm holding processed cheese.
I mean, I'd prefer it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, notes don't taste as good.
Well, they are if they're. I lost it. I
I'm allergic to
had a
words.
joke. I had a joke. I was gonna say knowledge is tasty, but that's just really weird.
So yeah, we're definitely not recording early in the morning again.
God,
I swear. And I'm not gonna break the news every time.
well, look, Gamma. This is the reality, right? This is what you got to think about when people are listening to this. You know what one of the comments was? Less banter. You know what I say?
Less banter.
Less banter. But I'm thinking that's on ProPokeBowl. This is ProPokePodcast. We could be as stupid as we want here. Welcome
Yeah, we can.
to
It's
us
whatever.
being loose and limber while keeping entertainment. Like, do you really just want hard facts nonstop for like 2 hours straight? Are you kidding me?
Or do you want to hear about how Alberto Del Rio ran over Santa with his car?
No, you meant Antonio
almost
Del Rey.
Christmas, guys.
It's Antonio Del Rey. Stop that.
It's Alberto Del Rio.
You gotta stay consistent, man.
I think he even hit his helper dude. I don't like his butler or whatever he was. I don't know.
This guy if there isn't an Alberto Del Rio representative on your team if you join next season, Gamma, I'm gonna be really pissed.
Oh my God. Maybe we'll see.
Maybe he actually just comes in as the guy who hit Santa. That's his team name.
Oh my God.
You know you would do it too. Okay.
Santa got ran over by Del Rio.
Why? Why does that work? Why does that work? I'm gonna slap you with my processed cheese Post-it note, man. Do we have commercials? Can I put a 30-second ad on while Gamma catches his breath?
I'm sorry. I'm sure I could think of the rest of the lyrics for that too.
Oh, dude, it's like when people used to make fun of Papa Roach's what Last Resort with like the plastic fork.
Yeah.
I had like 3 verses in that. I went so ham on Last Resort or Plastic Fork, whichever one you go with.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I do one for Stream 2? I feel like I did one for a Nuzlocke. Literally whipped out a Papa Roach rhyme. Just like, oh my god, he even has to get the puffer. Holy shit, I'm sorry. Oh no, I'm sorry.
You're good. I laughed myself into an asthma attack.
Well, you know what? It's better that than a coma. I think.
Not wrong.
Uh-huh.
It's an eventuality.
Oh, great. Gamma, my processed cheese Post-it note here has a lot of notes for us to talk about here. So let's start working on those to spare people from what we are. Not sorry. What we are. We are monsters. So, in no particular order, we're going to talk about the main points that came out from feedback, as well as the general feeling from the coaches. We asked people on the feedback form to either choose to be, if they're a viewer or a coach, and kind of identifying. The questions were catered around just the entire event in general. We asked about specifics as well as just asking about favorite moments, things that you would want to see pushed forward. You know, like improved is kind of assumed when you hear the word where you hear the phrase push forward. So I'm not necessarily like saying the tournament was perfect. It's never going to be, especially when it's in its infancy and it's run by one person who has run tournaments at a very casual level anyways. So the more that we learn, the better it's going to get. And there's been a lot of fantastic feedback that has led to some good ideas already for the next season when that is going to happen. First of all, you're probably thinking, hey noob, it's November. We see the date that this has come out. When's Gen 8? And the answer is, I don't know. The Gen 8 metagame right now is going to be an absolute mess. We don't even know if Dynamaxing is going to last. There's also a Gen 8. We're not getting into a Gamma. No. Shh.
We're not. I will hold my tongue.
You and I are casual, okay? Our opinion doesn't count anyways. But the... isn't that the universal choking sign that you're doing right there? That's the universal choking sign. That doesn't help anything.
No, that's the my heart. Ow.
Yeah, over here then, not in the middle. This is
I
actually
don't know what side my heart's on. All I know is it hurts.
It's slightly to the left, but if you do this in public, this means universal choking. This means you're choking. Someone's gonna come to you.
Also, when I'm choking, I need to look like I'm strangling myself. Gotcha.
That's the point of the choking sign. People recognize, like, oh, he's choking, even if he's choking himself.
Why would you strangle yourself if you're choking, noob?
Because you're trying to squeeze it up and out? I don't know.
That would make it worse.
To squeeze it up and out? No, because then you'd start breathing once the blockage is out.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you.
Clearly, because you don't know where your heart is. Anyways, yeah. Gen 8 metagame. There's a full national dex mode to it, and there's also a just Gen 8 like Shield exclusive mode on Showdown. I'm gonna be testing both of them eventually. Like I said, I'm still not fully into it, but maybe this season will change it up, so I might have a better idea of the metagame. But at the current time, there's no prospects. I know I wanted to start the tournament earlier. There might also be some changes time-wise, or just certain things that I've been playing around with idea-wise that we'll talk about later in the episode. But for now, no. Gen 8 is going to have probably a ProPokeBowl. I can't promise anything. It's always time restricted. Even last year or just this past season, this one was also time restricted. So it was kind of we were ready to go and we went with it, sort of deal. But we are looking into it. What would it take on? I kind of like Gen 8 metagame because it'll feel different. Once we see tiering and everything else, we'll decide between national decks. There's no reason that we can't do both either. No reason we can't run 2 leagues that are smaller. One thing I can say is, in terms of size for the tournament, I have a pretty good idea of what my max will be and how we're going to manage that in the future. For the most part, I still have a couple of details I want to work out, but the tournament is still going to remain accessible for the viewers. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Do you have any more questions for me, Mr. Interviewer?
No, not at the moment.
You didn't ask any questions to begin with.
Good. See, that's a good interviewer. You don't have to ask the questions; they do it for you.
That's just you being lazy.
You're not right.
And getting paid for it, too. Dang.
I'm not getting paid for this.
Oh, thank God. I don't owe you anything. Thank you for confirming that. Let's look at the most important things that we want to talk about based on the feedback that we got. And the most pointed out from all the feedback from everybody was regarding the battle format and points. That was the one that most people talked about. So, again, just to remind everybody, the way we did it was a series of 2, so they played out 2 matches. If you won 2-0, you got 3 points, your opponent got 0. If it was a 1-1 tie on the day, you both got a single point. Top 6 would make it in with ties, going to look at the total number of 2-0 wins that you had, as well as after that, or sorry, for head-to-head first, then the total number of wins that you had to be the second tiebreaker, and then if that wasn't the case, they were still tied, then we went to a best of 3 to determine who was going into that seed. Only mattered if you were going for 6th seed, 1st or 2nd. Everything else was just randomized in the middle. Of course, that was to prevent or to mitigate sandbagging to an extent so that you can't just hope to God that you fight this certain person by getting into a certain seed. And I think it worked this year. I think it did very well. So let's talk about so the general thing about the formatting and the points, I think that was asked for quite a bit, was either looking more towards a win-based ranking system, so using a best of 3 format, best of 5 format, stuff like that, to encourage an actual, like, to give people more time to battle. And that was one thing that I kind of really wanted to do, even from the very beginning, where I wanted a lot more games so that people had more time to adapt. At the same time, the problem that became apparent, especially throughout the regular season, was the issue with the voice. You want to get a lot of people playing, you want to get a lot of things going, but as one person, the reason why I was looking for a commentator was that hoping that someone could take the helm and somewhat help me out. Now, obviously, that sounds very one-sided, but it doesn't mean that there wouldn't be any benefits to collaborating, because, I mean, no matter what, you're going to be working for a purpose. So one is exposure, which is a word that's tossed around a lot these days. It's tossed around these days a lot. Is exposure. But
I can't eat exposure.
Yeah. See, the thing is, at the you start with any tournament you want, and you could always. Yeah. I mean, I fostered a lot of friendships by doing these types of things. So hey, it pays off for people who want to join it, and I'm always looking, right? I'm always looking to build the team up for anything that I do. December, Extra Life, ProPokeBowl, these types of things we're always looking to expand. And that was one thing that I really wanted to try and get so that we could actually, even just doing the series of 2, just to test to see synergies, right? Because I'm pretty sure people know now I'm very much a play-by-play person. When it comes to color casting or adding analysis, I'm okay at it, but there are probably people who are more modern, and not even just more modern, who are just more versed, right? I'm not the best player. And I don't think that makes the tournament worse, but if you want to add just that little extra layer of detail and just that little bit extra layer of knowledge, that can help to pull someone in who will kind of foster that side of the tournament, right? Because you're going to watch a tournament for 2 things. You're going to watch it for entertainment, in my opinion, number 1, and then number 2, to understand what the heck's happening on your screen. And I can do that as much as I can, but there's going to be someone who will know just that much more about the metagame on the spot versus me, who takes literally, you can ask Gamma, I have notes a week later because I'm looking at the stuff like the night before, just being like, okay, what happened throughout these matches? I'm watching them 3 or 4 times, writing these tiny little notes down, and in the end, I put together what I came up, and then I'm 75% wrong. Having said that, a lot of the team building is done based on the coaches. It's also a draft tournament, so just knowing OU is not going to help you. It'll give you a better base, but yeah, it's mixed OU, so it's a little bit more difficult. Nonetheless, this isn't taking out any prospects of changing the format. It doesn't take out any prospects of the point system changing. What I will say is, for the call to attention or the call to revise a points or battle system, is it's something that will be difficult and will be very situation dependent. If I could, time permitted, something I may look at to future seasons is either 2 days a week, so increasing the amount of involvement people need, or we make the tournament even longer and we do double round robin. That would be, to me, the way to increase the number of battles, because you want to give playtime, and I completely understand that. And one way to do that would be to basically double the amount of time that we play. Now, having said this, the difficulty obviously is coach investment. And I don't know why I'm preaching this to you guys. You probably know this when you gave the advice, but nonetheless, the coach investment is always something I keep in mind when I organize things, and that's why I did like a series of 2 makes the nights much shorter. We go for about 2.5 to 3 hours. Before it used to be up to like 4 or 5 hours, even with just the best of 3. Even when we had only like 3 battles in a night. But I think now we have a lot more devoted people who are on time, and that was really nice to see this season.
Yeah, no, which you're right. It's hard for coaches to stay as invested as they possibly can, especially when real life gets in the way. So having 2 separate days would probably be a little bit harsher on people specifically. It takes a lot of devotion and whatnot to show up for that, and I commend the people who do show up for what they do.
Oh, for sure.
But it is a wall that's in the way for doing it that way, at least.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, the really funny thing is at the end of the day, like, it is content on my channel, so it is my content. So for me to be like, oh, people aren't free 36 weeks out of the year, what the hell? Like, that would be stupid on my part. Yeah, like, that would just be flat out stupid from me to expect that, right? Now, something that was also recommended, that was also suggested, which is actually quite interesting because it could bring us into a situation where times become more flexible, is having one online and one offline battle. Some people were suggesting to do some offline battles. As much as I want to commentate, making it a Discord sort of thing where now we can stream on Discord, but also we could just have a voice channel that people could jump into. They can watch it on Showdown. That way we can have content on Twitch as well as content outside of Twitch to make it more flexible for those coaches. That is something that could be organized. It will take a little bit more time to organize and more of a semantic with it, but if that's possible to do, then something like a double round robin, because that doesn't fix a best of 3, but that does help with if we wanted more involvement throughout the season and people wanted to play a double round robin. It is something we can do, and then that way, almost treat it like if you watch League of Legends, it'd be like the Academy Leagues, where Academy Leagues do 2 matches, they do 1 offline, and then they do 1 online. So you'll watch half of them live and half of them are just done. You kind of get the reports after on the live sessions. So they won't go into the details of the offline leagues. They'll just kind of go over the semantics similar to what we do here to an extent. And that would be a way to increase playtime, which is a consideration. It is something thought about, and it could be doable. And very flexible, which is, I think, obviously something we're all looking for, even as myself, organizing a tournament. Flexibility is freaking fantastic. I just think that the commentary mixed with the actual show has always been the appeal of the ProPokeBowl, and as such, you want to maintain that to obviously give the people what they want, because that's what they keep telling me. Like, yeah, more noob and also more excitement.
Yeah.
So that's all I've got to say on the battle format and the battle points system. There's a lot to look at, and also just it's going to be very dependent on the situations of everybody. But it's something that is on the table. There's a lot of things on the table after season 5, which is great because again we tested a bunch of things, and me, because I'm going to be talking to coaches, I'm going to be talking to Team Pocket Ace members. I'm going to be talking to people who I trust a lot, and I've taken a lot of feedback down from coaches and have kept it all in. I'm not going to discredit anything that's said, because if it has thought behind it and reasons, especially people who have put reasons behind their suggestions, those are really productive in helping to promote something positive in ways of growth for something that they want to be a part of. And that's the best part, right? Like, feedback is so paramount with these types of community things, because you want to make sure it's the same thing with like Chatlock and everything else that we're doing, which is coming up soon in December, right? A lot of it was feedback driven, and a lot of it's also like, well, let's weed out the things that we don't trust ourselves as the people who create it, and then, but there is some growth from people who just throw random things out there. You're kind of like, I didn't think of that. Let's consider it always. And then if you trust it, you go with it. You make it your own thing. So that's what we're trying to do here. Second thing. And this was something that I was working on, but at the same time didn't have enough time to fully flesh it out, and that's the ethics code.
I'm going to stay away from this one.
There's nothing that I'm going to point out. Everyone knows everything that's already happened.
Yeah.
And everyone who is in the know, it's gone now, right? Season 5, we're good to go, right? Palettes are relatively clean. I think one thing that we really learned from season 5 in terms of running a tournament that is going to have a consistent audience is that consistent expectations need to exist, just like on my channel, right? Rules don't change. They are set in stone. This is the way we go. We add rules. We modify when we see fit or when we see that it allows for things to be modified, but at the end of the day, the rules need to stay as rigid as such. One major infraction on myself that I made a mistake with, but not really a mistake. It was more of a kind of put in a corner with not thinking about. Yes, I make mistakes, Gamma. It's incredible. Was the trade system when we had coaches that bowed out or were disqualified, where I allowed the teams to be unlocked, when I know that the correct answer is to lock the teams and not let those Pokemon go back in the trade pool. However, put in a corner and kind of wanting to see what the ramifications of it would be led to kind of confusion and also not unfairness, but I think it didn't lead to anything bad, but it did leave for a lot of questions with if this happens in future seasons, because at the end of the day, it does affect a lot of the active coaches who have gone through a strategic phase through the draft day only to see that, well, now people have just basically picked up the best of other teams and put it onto their own teams and has made it kind of like that. So I can tell you right now that will definitely be one change to the ethics. And going forward, because like I said, I was just developing it, didn't have it fully in the words that I want, but I do want to have it in the proper language. I want to have it properly so it could be cited and actually figure out how to do that. It's not going to be a law book, but it is going to be a rule book to an extent for the ProPokeBowl. And I will say this, that rules will be held to the utmost regard, because I'm a rules guy, right? Like I obsess with rules, and when I slip on rules, I get very hard on myself because I'm like, I am literally a rules guy. When I make a mistake on a rule, I'm very upset at myself. And that's just not saying that because it's what everybody says, because that's the thing to say. No, it's like I literally really, really hate myself when I make a mistake on a rule. But when I see that there are rules missing, I just take that as okay, we missed this, we fix this at the next applicable time, which will be after the season, because we can't change a rule halfway through the season unless something really bad is happening. That's why we had things like the sandbagging rule kind of thrown in after season 4. Not that it happened, but we're looking at it going, this is the opportunity to now change it with changing the seed, randomizing the seeds into the semifinal or into the quarterfinals, handling a couple of different ways, putting specific strikes and stuff like that down. It will be a lot more noted. It'll be a lot easier to understand what's going on in terms of infractions, disqualifications, stuff like that, and the ethics code before we come back will be fully developed. It will have as many situations as I can possibly think of with myself and other people written down. It should give you the playbook on what to do when something happens. Right, the rulebook itself helps you understand the tournament, but the ethics code should help you understand what each step of any type of infraction should look like. And if you watch my content, you know that I take rule breakers very seriously. So that's definitely something that will be improved for Season 6, if there is one. When we come back to the ProPokeBowl, there will be a much larger book for you guys to read. that 6-page rule book that people are already like, oh my god, it's so long. I'm like, yeah, it's about to get longer.
It's going to be thick.
It's going to be a bedtime read, maybe.
But it's necessary. But...
Also, don't take that if the ProPokeBowl comes back thing out of context. It literally means that I don't know when the next time it's going to be happening, so...
Yeah, the amount of surprise that was on my face, my eyebrows were actually off in my head.
He actually lost his face for a second. It's kind of like that cartoon thing where like, wow! And it just kind of all left his face and then snapped back in. You got very tight skin there, Gamma, to make that happen.
Oh, thank you.
Kind of like the all just go, sucks back in onto your face.
Tight and moisturized. I apply lotion.
He's in his bed just like rubbing his forehead with L'Oreal.
My bed is actually just a big old tub of lotion.
Well, ew, no.
It's comfortable.
Have you ever? How did you figure out how to do that?
Smooth. I didn't figure it out.
So when you don't walk, you actually glide then. So when you deliver pizza, you slide into people's living rooms, right?
Yeah, it's a health hazard.
Can you just would you just rub the bottom of a pizza box and it just become like all slippery and you just go, whoa, up there?
It's like a bowling ball at that point.
What's that?
It's like a bowling ball at that point. I just slide it.
No, people are like curling. You don't want to roll the pizza. That'd be bad. It'd be curling.
Guess.
Curling's okay when you have to use that as an example. That's all.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Get your broom.
What?
Get your broom ready. Let's go.
It's processed cheese broom post-it note thing now. It's a utility tool. It's a multi-tool.
You know what? I wonder if anybody's ever thought of the idea to make a notepad of notes, but with singles cheese.
You know, I'm going to tell you right now, I used to have a friend who would write phone numbers on the plastic of processed cheese. So that, well, because he didn't have paper on him. So he'd write on the plastic, keep the plastic.
It's your hand.
But the thing was, his hand was already full of other notes. Like, you gotta think, before tattoos became popular, you were a walking post-it note. So he was already, like, loaded up with, I don't know what he had on his arms, including profanities, obviously. But he would sign, like, I remember he would write the things. I did it once, tee, because I'm like, this is smart. Just write on plastic. That's what my parents taught me. Until you realize, you put it in your pocket, it kind of wipes all the ink off. Didn't think of that one. But
just a little bit.
Right
there. Oh, no.
I had a piece of plastic in my mouth. That was weird. So
it's the cheese.
You had to watch that. You had to watch that live, Gamma. How was that for you?
That was concerning.
I was just like, oh god, it's.
I didn't think it was plastic at first because he just seemed so like surprised by it. Like he was just like, there's something on my tongue.
Oh, here comes the infinite handkerchief.
Yeah, he's doing like a magician with like the handkerchief thing.
You're doing a flossing thing. No, handkerchief is like straight out. You're doing this thing. It just looks like you're shining your nose.
No, I'm milking a cow, obviously.
What's that? You're doing running on the Wii? Wow.
Excuse you. It's what is it? Switch Ring Fit or whatever now.
Wait, Switch has a fitness thing?
Oh my god, you haven't seen it?
Oh no.
Hold on, I got you.
Okay, you find that. I'm gonna move on to the next thing. That's ridiculous. The next thing that was another big thing that people were asking about was the tiering format in which we did the draft. So the change this year was putting RU and NU mixed together while leaving PU as the lowest tier, which was paired with OU, and then basically splitting it up to make it risk reward in terms of what you take. Gamma, what is this?
That's Ring Fit Adventure, noob. You take the ring and you move it around with the Joy-Cons on it, and you're fit. This is how you get swole.
I mean, to be fair, We Fit was baloney, so it's better than... I had someone in one of my classes who was basically saying, hey, We Fit is actually not as bad as you say, Professor. And he looked at her and he's like, you're stupid.
Because, I mean, in the sense that people are actually getting up and doing something.
But that was her argument. She said it's better than nothing. And he's like, okay, you're in my fitness class and you're telling me that something is better than nothing. And he's like, listen to me. Something is not better than nothing. Something has to be something in order for it to be better than nothing. Like, he was just ripping into her, and it was actually kind of funny because he's not wrong, right? Something is better than nothing. I say that to be supportive of people, but it is true. Saying that you do, like, there were people who swore by We Fit, and I'm just like, no, swearing by We Fit is quite possibly the worst thing you could actually do. You might as well sit down. You're gonna burn the same calories. But either way, tiering Gamma. Gamma, what did you think of mixing the RU and NU together? Like, don't think about what I've told you already to prepare you for this podcast. Just what did you think of mixing, like, leaving PU by itself to be that sort of OU pairing? So you couldn't, like, reach into, like, the slightly better pokes. You just had to deal with the lowest tiered pokes versus the NU-RU mixed with the UU now, where you had a mix of these stronger Pokemon being placed into lower tiers and being left there as such.
Yeah.
Honest opinion, I don't care.
I'm trying to remember what my opinion was at first, because before we had spoken about it, because I know you brought it up before. I feel that it's an issue of balance. And it's really hard to find that sweet spot of balance between tiers. But I think it was a good shot, honestly. That's really all I can say about that. And I don't want to go too into detail.
Why not?
Because I'm tired.
Oh my god.
No, okay. So here's the deal. I think it was a decent balance. When it came to picking it's not it's good to have that extreme opposite to OU as its own thing. But I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on it, honestly. So I'd leave it at that.
Yeah, it's most certainly. That's why I somewhat. I liked what it did, and to put out once again the reason why we had the tiers as such. Essentially, there were not enough PU Pokemon to make NU PU remotely balanced. The pool was going to be filled with nothing but NUs. And even then, I think we would run out of NUs and PUs before we were able to fill that size of the pool. So what I did was NU RU so that I could put PU and ZU pokes into the final tier to make it the kind of like you still have to pick out of this size of a pool. And I also, I think, played around with the balance. I can't remember if I played around with the balances. I might not have, but if I did, it would have been in more favor to be able to add more NU RU. What's that?
I think you did. I remember you finishing with
I
it
did
for a
slightly,
while.
right? Yeah, I think I reduced UU. I think I upped OU and reduced NURU, I think. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers. It's been a while since I don't memorize those numbers. I just kind of have them written down for a reason, so I don't have to memorize those numbers. It's called organization. Whoa! So
Yeah.
when I played around with the numbers, it just ended up being the best to do it that way. And it led to a lot of Pokemon being in the place that they should be with their pairings and things like that. Things that I'm looking towards the future is to assess, first of all, this is a brand new metagame we're going to be going into. Gen 8, like we said, has a national mode, a national dex mode. It also has a non-national dex mode, so just dealing with what you're given in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And as a result, we don't know what the tiers are going to look like. We don't know how many tiers we're even going to have, right? And it's really hard to tell at this point. One thing I will say is we will be putting it under close examination because I want to make sure that there are a balanced number of pokes and that we can make it so that it still feels like a balanced drafting experience. Because I think the double ban was good. One thing that I might look into is even more bans, just increasing the size of the pool, as well as leading to more bans to weed out more and more of the power creep that people can get from their pick positions. I think re-randomizing the power or the picking positions was a really good addition. I think that added a lot more difference and made it so that people had to adapt on the spot. So you could bring plans because there was a couple of things that I remember there were a couple of comments relating to when people could see the bands in advance, they were able to plan. And that was the reason why we changed to that, to make it an easier experience for when people come in. We don't need the mystery removed, right? People are going to see it, and for some people who are brand new to the tournament, they don't really know how to draft it, so I'd rather them come with a plan and save time on the night. Because I'll tell you right now, the drafting before we did pre-seen or like previewed pools was like 3.5 hours. This got reduced to 2.
I remember the one I participated in, the mock one. Took forever.
It took forever, right? And what people were saying was, hey, if we know what we want, why can't we just get the pools in advance? We're going to see the Pokemon anyways, right? Now I come to Season 5, people are like, no, we're giving them too much time. But the thing is, in the end of the day, we're going to go for time, right? Time is going to be the biggest factor as always. So I still think preview will be good. What could happen is semi-blind. We could hide certain pools and kind of just give an idea of what you could look at, like give it in different rankings or different times. Not that it would matter much. There's a lot that would have to be considered with it.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
How long before the actual pick did you put out the draft?
They only get it a week in advance.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe cut it down to like a couple days.
I could. The thing that I thought about with the week was I wanted to give people time in case because if everybody's saying they're free on a particular day, I'm assuming their other 6 days have something going on. So to restrict it to the Monday, there could be someone who works Monday, Tuesday, and wanted to get it done over the weekend. So by allowing the week, it just allowed for a bunch of people to have the time whenever they needed it. Because I know there are still people building their teams on the night of and getting it done on time, and bless those people for getting it done by the Tuesdays when they needed to. But I know some people would be done by the next day because then like they work weekends, they're busy with school all week, so they're focusing on that. So I appreciated that people used their time effectively and were using the full 5 days of planning, 4 days of planning that they were given to get their teams in, to get their bans and trades in and stuff like that. So it was a consideration, but giving them the week just makes the most sense time-wise for people who are willing to give up, or not give up, invest a lot of time into a tournament that's being run on the channel. So that's part of the give and take. You want to make it easy for people, but you also don't want to give. Because at the end of the day, what previewing drafts would give power to is the top players, not so much the newer players. Newer players would be learning how to draft it, but if they're good at Pokemon, it's going to give them that power to make it feel like they have an influence on that. And I think that does put a lot of strategy into adapting on the day, because you still have to adapt. If your Pokemon that you wanted to pick up was banned or traded, or sorry, banned or picked, then you still have to choose the next one on your list, right? Maybe the next one on your list doesn't make much sense anymore. So I think that's why tiering becomes very interesting, because I think it needs to be thought of either in a different way. Maybe the pools need to be reduced. Maybe we need to have less that end up in the trade pool. Perhaps smaller teams. That's also something I've been trying to play around with in my mind. We're maybe reducing the size to 10 so that people have less Pokemon they need to worry about, but that also means less Pokemon make it in, which could increase the amount of variety we see from season to season. We're not too sure yet. We're really not sure. And the other tricky thing is with the team of 12 was just chosen because that was something arbitrarily that was come up with by me. Doesn't mean we can't reduce the sizes of the teams. So I've even played around with the idea of kind of like substitute Pokemon, where you kind of have a main team of 10, and then you have 2 on the side that you kind of save. And
like
rather than trading, you could just pull them in, and then there'd be like a cooldown on when that other Pokemon come back in and play type of thing. It sounds like a silly concept. It's not fully fleshed out, but it's just something else that I thought about to just throw ideas out. You might as well try when you have the idea, right?
No, it sounds similar to like in basketball when you have your bench there and you got the six people up. You're constantly rotating out the team so they don't,
And people had that with the team of 10, but I thought of making it kind of like the pocket picks, where you'll take the one random where you just have that one Pokemon you want to bring in that 1 week, and you bring it in, and then it gets a cooldown on it, because you literally picked up that one Pokemon so you could beat a particular person, right? Like making it so it's not just an easy rotate. It's like, no, you make that your choice to use that Pokemon. Like it's just playing around with ideas. It's very flexible, and it has a lot of room, especially since it's a mixed tier.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what repercussions come from like swapping Pokemon out. Like maybe whether it's like a 1 or 2
swap
week cooldown.
trade coaches.
I'm on it.
Mm-hmm.
Put me in, coach.
I mean, you could have. Well, not when you were doing the ProPokePodcast.
Yeah.
That would be conflict of interest, but you only did this because you weren't a coach. So if we have to replace you, we'll replace you.
I
want you to have fun, though.
I know.
Uh-huh. So,
Well,
so
we'll see how everything goes next PPV. What's up there? Maybe you'll see me participate. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll see me here again. Maybe you won't. Who knows?
I thought you were going to talk about cheering. You just went right into advertising your team.
What? Listen,
guys, I'm not saying I want to be sponsored in 2020, but when I'm sponsored in 2020, you better be the person paying me to play for you.
You
just
better
saying.
be on with the Oklahoma otakus,
I'm trying to drink water, not drown myself, sir. Please.
It's good for on the spot, though.
Why would you choose Oklahoma?
I don't know.
Have you not learned from Ox?
Because it's got an O at the beginning of it.
Ohio.
What's in Ohio?
I don't know. What's in Oklahoma?
You know what? You're right.
From my understanding, I went to Ohio for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What do you go to Oklahoma for? Cows? I got lots of those.
Yeah,
no offense to anyone in Oklahoma. I really actually don't know. I'm from Canada, if you don't know that. Again, if you're watching this and you've come in at the end, I don't know why, but
it's okay. We got an Oklahomian in the pocket aces.
Oklahoma? We should call her an Oklahoma. Oh my god.
Oh god, no. Oh, I hate it. I'm gonna let her know.
We gotta sell some Oklahomies. Whoa! I'm sure I've insulted like 7 people who live in Oklahoma. Anyways, yeah, tiering needs to be played around with a lot. He's making it a thing right now as we speak.
There we go. Now she knows.
The final main topic that came up with a lot of feedback forms, the trade and ban format. And this obviously is going to hearken to, like we've already mentioned here, the whole when coaches were eliminated, when they quit, or when they were disqualified, their teams were allowed, or their Pokemon were allowed to go back into the pools. That is already not going to exist in Season 6. I can tell you that right now. That's gone. It was fine in Season 5, but I think a lot of the winning at draft was kind of taken away when a lot of good Pokemon go back, and then you just see a bunch of power creep on everybody's team. Gave you a lot to play around with, but when everybody's power creeping, it kind of removes the whole, like, well, who was strong at draft? You know what I mean? So a lot of enhancements and things like that. Now, other things to talk about the trade and ban format. The one thing might be the timing of when you see the bans and the trades. In terms of, you might see the trades before the bans happen. I liked the idea of the trades being kind of like that hidden pick of a Pokemon that can catch your Pokemon, that can catch your opponents off guard, because you're given infinite trading, so you're literally giving up a spot to try and pick up a Pokemon to potentially get an advantage and win some points off an opponent. And I'm still going to review to see whether or not I'm actually going to keep that, because I still like the concept. I think that was very cool to see if people could find a Pokemon that would just destroy their opponent next week. It didn't happen very much. It just kind of ended up being like, hey, this Pokemon happens to be good on my team, rather than, oh, this Pokemon destroys this team, right? So I'm going to continue to monitor that. The other thing being whether or not there will be restrictions on how people can trade Pokemon. As it is right now, the way that you trade between the pool and yourself is using a Pokemon of equal tier or higher to trade for a Pokemon. So if you want a UU Pokemon, you must trade your own UU or OU. There were a few suggestions that I have written down as well in regards to that. The other thing being equalizing coach trades, like coach-to-coach trading, where, trading an OU for a PU doesn't always look the best. Trading, like making it more of a forced, equitable trade to an extent. The format with the coach trading is kind of an agreed upon thing. So, I mean, if you think about actual sports, you're not going to trade your, 150 batting average player for a team that has like a 500 batting average. I don't know if that even exists. It should. But someone who has a really high batting average, not going to trade that player for a really low batting average, right? So my logic is similar to that, where you're only going to trade Pokemon that you really, really don't need anyways, or you're going to trade to make it something equal that's not going to make it, equitable that's not going to ruin you as well. So that's why the whole consideration. You were muted, by the way.
I was muted this whole time, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were. But you were playing with your contrast. You were playing with your gamma settings. That it doesn't matter, nonetheless. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, you should. Good. You're. Dude, that works so well. I'm gonna remember that one. Anyways, nonetheless, to me, the coach trading still feels the way it should be. Having said that, it doesn't mean that there can't be changes and there can't be revisions and going back to the VODs to see what happens. So we have a lot of tracking anyway, so we can track to see when trades happen. Obviously, the coaches sheets, which I said are already going to be released, will give you an idea, especially Season 5, because Season 5 was the most in-depth and the most open with all the information for the public and for the coaches.
It was very detailed, and I'd like to point out, to give a little shout-out to Anish, who did the initial weaknesses for the teams.
Yes, Anish did actually even offer his services to make all the sheets look like that, including his own. If you look at his sheet, it was very well designed, and I am very much interested in his ability to make it look that good, because I probably could. Again, it's a time thing, and if it's easier to use and he shows me how it's easier to use, then I'm all for it, and it already looked better overall, and obviously a little bit of a shine up here and there is not the worst thing. I'm not a guy who cares about aesthetics, but when someone can help me out with aesthetics, obviously denoted by what Dizzy Illustrations gave me, I'll take it.
It's very nice polish.
Oh yeah, it's a good polish. So, just like that sausage. Oh wait, that's Polish. Anyways,
what?
Polish
What?
Sausage.
What? How's that?
Polish. Get it?
No, now you're just grasping at straws.
When am I not grasping at straws? I am a straw. I am gonna leave that there. I just imagine myself like picking myself up by the head like at a crane game. Just like, there I go.
He's out of here.
He's going only as far as his hand could go. Huh, that is kind of expected, isn't it?
I guess so.
But yeah, trade ban format, in its infant. Again, it's something that's been changed up twice now over only 2 or 3 seasons, so it's hard to tell what would be the best way to go about it, but obviously we have a lot of information now, so this all might sound like, noob, why am I listening to this for over an hour? Or just about under the hour mark, and you haven't given us any concrete evidence. It's because that is basically the thoughts that are going through my head right now. The stuff that I'm going to be talking to people like Gamma, like former champions, like Team Pocket Ace members, like people who I know run tournaments and can give extra advice on that as well. Try and reach out and find some other people to help organize and give their own feedback from an outsider perspective, right? These are the things that we're looking at, and I want to recognize the feedback of the community members that has been en masse, and a lot of people have called for. So that's what we're doing here. Other things that were called out, just to go over a shorter list of sorts. We did have the new fantasy league, which was implemented this season. I could have done a better job. I realized a couple of ways that I could have made it better, including putting it out after the teams were. Oh, I did put it out after the teams were done, but giving a little bit more time for people to take a look at it, and also just allowing for more time for people to put out the fantasy league. It's kind of hard when you have to be like quick on the season, but.
I will add that the additional time did help, coming from the person who won the fantasy draft. Just say it. Just want to put that there.
Yeah, sure.
The extra time helped.
Well, there's only 2 weeks that you got, but to get people to, like, for example, to get people to remember that the fantasy draft exists or the fantasy league exists, kind of like making people sign up for it in advance, and then on draft night, bam, send out an email to everybody that signed up, and then you're just watching on your list and seeing who you want to win. That would make it a lot easier, I think. Like, just like there's more what's that called? Streamlining it. More streamlining it so it's just easier, so people are reminded, because like, from Chatlock, from everything else, I'm learning a lot now. I do a lot of complex stuff. A lot. You don't come on my channel to just watch a show. You are watching a whole freaking game. Like, I am a walking game show. There are so many games. There are so many things happening on the channel, even though it doesn't seem like it, but there's a lot, because you probably don't know about half the things that happen on the channel. So trying to make it as accessible as possible is my goal. That is the 2020 stamp of approval I'm looking for. I'm looking for the most accessible version of Noob that I can possibly make. Kind of professionalize everything that I can for myself. See you later, Gamma. But yeah, it's something just improving it like that. But the betting and the fantasy league were basically the main additions for viewers. We did have the whole Noobit investment back when we had the old Streamlabs point system, and that worked out pretty well. And I think the betting system this time was a lot more accessible, a lot easier.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's very good to even try and get people to guess the scores. Like, not just saying who's going to win, but it's like who's going to guess the scores. And that's kind of opened up by having the series of 2, a best of 3, you guess one or the other, which is still fine because we did that in the playoffs as well. But having that extra little layer of, well, is it going to be a 1-1? Are they just going to smash? How are they going to do that sort of thing? And kind of even putting out just information to remind people so they could show up. Maybe they didn't watch the last 2 ProPokeBowl weeks, so they have no idea how the coaches did, but giving information like that, like kind of giving them kind of a tracking sheet on the spot rather than just reading. I mean, Challenge is its own tracking sheet, but maybe making something a little bit just more straightforward for viewers, because at the end of the day, the Challenge is for myself and for the coaches. The viewers can look at it. It's not hard to understand. But if you don't know what Challenge is, you're just kind of looking at it going, ooh, that's a pretty format, then, just putting out a simple post of, hey, this is what it looked like, and here are the Pokemon that were on the teams and stuff like that. Like, again, it's more work, which is not a big deal. It's just making sure the work is doable in the amount of time that we have. So having all of that planned in advance always helps. But I think the betting in the Fantasy League will be enhanced in the future. And I don't think we need to keep it to a featured matchup. I think everything can have a betting at this point because, why not? Why not just have everybody guess on everything? They can track their own fantasy league, too. When they start looking like, oh, this person's going to get 3rd place, and start betting against them every week, they're like, oh, no. It's like that sick reality that you've messed up, but you're still going to earn Noobits, despite the fact you're going to lose fantasy league.
All right, guys, listen, I done goofed real bad.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna drop my Noobits over here and play the system if I can, you know what I'm saying?
Look, I voted for you, but I'm not getting a $10 Steam gift card at this point. But I am going to get a pretty penny afterwards, so we're even.
Yeah. But just tiny bit of money on the site, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. Can't get the gift card, I'll just...
Gamma, I trust you get the top 6. But if you see me not mention you a single time in the next ProPokePodcast, don't be offended by it. It's just the way it goes, okay? I support you, but I'm going to support you from the outside, from the other side where I'm going to be a little more lucrative. You understand? No, I'm kidding.
I don't expect to make top 6. Just saying, if I do play.
Oh, come on. You can make top 6. Anyone can make top 6.
I've seen everybody play this year, and I think they'll all make it.
And now we're all entering Gen 8 where nobody knows anything again.
Yeah.
So,
Boy,
we've
howdy,
seen reckless stupidity. We have seen reckless random crap take points off of top players. So don't worry about it.
No, you're not wrong.
So don't you could just cheese your way in. Whatever. World leader strats, initial strats, just do something like that. Just cheese your way into it. Whatever.
As long as I don't have to use Abominable.
Really? Really? You still mad about that?
I'm not mad about it.
You're pouting. Oh my god, Gamma, you're mad about this. Are you salty over the crab?
I'm not. You're trying to put something that's not there, I swear.
Yes, I am. Good call. Anyways. What's that?
But yeah.
Betting in Fantasy League, a big success. The other thing that we were talking about was the analysis, the ProPokePodcast. Gamma, we're fired.
That's fine. I knew it was coming.
I know. I fired myself, too. It's kind of a tragedy.
I already cleared out my desk.
You had stuff in your desk? Was it cheese? Was it a sandwich? I knew it. Anyways, yeah, analysis-wise, I still think the ProPokePodcast was a pretty fun experience. Thank you very much, of course, to Gamma, who participated in this. Of course, the ProPokePodcast was going to have many different sections of it. It will not be happening until 2020 at the very least. But if you're only seeing this from an esports sort of perspective, I guess you could put it in quotes if you want to. I consider it esports because it is esports. If you're only seeing it from a ProPokeBowl perspective, there will be other things that I want to do. I've already mentioned that podcast with Raz and Gamma, depending on what we can make work. You were there. I told you about it.
No, I know about it.
Yeah. Are you wearing a Pizza Hut shirt? Sponsored by Pizza Hut. Anyways.
No, it's not. No, do not.
Why, you don't want to be sponsored by your company?
Tip your delivery drivers. That could be the sponsor. Don't be an asshole. Sorry, Gamma, I said asshole.
That's fine. Gamma is, as long as you don't drop the F-bomb, we're good.
Oh,
literally, Gamma is going to start the Tip Your Driver Foundation. The TIPD tipped.
All right. I'm going to drop a little bit of information on everybody.
You've already done this. Do it again. Go for it.
No, I don't know if I've dropped this specific information.
Oh, my God. I was thanking I was just before you dropped this information, I was like thanking you for making this a great show and all that stuff. Now go ahead and destroy it. Pizza Hut, go.
I'm gonna ruin it.
Go for it.
No, it's not just Pizza Hut. It's all the chain pizza places, usually like Domino's and.
Oh no, I'm a political stand now. Dang it.
In most states in the U.S., basically what happens is a lot of people don't know this. Most of the time, we do not get the delivery charge itself. So when you're getting charged like $3.50 to get your pizza delivered, 90% of the time we don't get much or any of it at all. Specifically in most cases, people actually are given less pay. I think it's like they get dropped down a few dollars under like minimum wage, which is a little ridiculous. Plus we gotta get gas and take care of our cars. And yeah, no, that's a little info on the pizza industry. Just so you guys know, those tips really do help people out, So if you order pizza, you should tip your driver. I'm not trying to be greedy. I would just like to have minimum wage. That'd be nice. All right, now that Noob's gone, I can ruin the podcast. You guys hear about this? Noob said you stink. Yeah, I know. I heard him once. He was like, they really need a bath. He was like ragging on it. I'm like, whoa, dude. They're not even here to defend themselves. What the hell? Yeah, no. He's like, no. I'm kidding. He loves everybody. No, it was a good time with season 5. And oh god, I just realized we're going on one of my rambles because Noob decided to leave. I have to fill up dead air. Oh, thank God he's back. I don't have to thank anybody for listening no more. I don't have to I don't have to say nothing nice about season 5 anymore. Thank God. Oh shoot, he's back.
Are you done your political stance on tipping your drivers?
Just be a nice person.
Okay.
Tip your delivery driver.
You could have said that. I didn't have to go get Cheerios over that.
You didn't have to go get Cheerios in the first place.
Good call. Anyways, for the ProPokePodcast, now that it's a political site, thanks, Gamma.
It's not political. I'm just saying, tip your delivery driver. Good. We get paid under minimum wage. Just give us a couple bucks to fill up our
for
tank.
The eco-political statement, Gamma, which you are correct about. But the point being, I would like to thank everyone who has listened to the ProPokePodcast thus far. For those who gave the feedback, for those who shaped how we did this with the Show Me Your Movesets and everything else, and there will be many iterations of it. In terms of analysis for the ProPokeBowl, we are looking to try and make more live analysis happen at the same time, so there's more instant feedback for coaches as well as for viewers who might not have time to listen to a podcast afterwards. That's going to be in the works. Again, very situational dependent. Depends on who I'm working with. Also depends on the times that we have and how much time and how late things have to run. All of this stuff kind of has to be decided on basically during the inception of the season. So it's hard to say what the future will be. I can tell you right now the podcast will be on a little bit of a break. It is a lot of editing for me, even though it isn't a lot of editing for me. It's a lot of tedious time.
It's time consuming.
It's time consuming.
It's very time consuming.
Gamma can attest to I don't waste that much time, and I don't have a lot of time to get stuff done.
Oh, he blows through it. Like I edit the podcast with Pocket Aces. He blows through it way faster than I can.
Whoa. Blow through it? That makes it sound like I don't try.
I mean it as in like you do it fast but good. That's what blow through.
That's also because I only have 2 voices though. You had 5. You have a way harder job than I have.
I mean, I didn't really have 5. I had like 3 maybe.
Oh, that's true. Tim mutes his mic, and Ox is basically 3 voices. So you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I never had to cut through your voice, so that was a lot easier.
Oh, thanks, man.
You don't say that much.
I don't. I do it mostly to break up jokes, or if I forget a word. I'm still trying to completely eliminate it. Still trying to. It's difficult. It's very difficult. It is a habit, but I try my best to speak the best that I can. Because pseudo advertising my voice. By the way, 2020, pay attention to voice advertisements. You might see me try and do. Hey, Gamma, would you listen to me? This is gonna be extremely biased because you're my friend, but
hit
honest
me.
opinion. Gamma, would you listen to me talk about education for educators?
I've actually heard you speak of some situations in which it involves educators and them educating people.
Oh, that's gonna make my case good when I'm like, I've heard about education and educations. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here's the deal. I feel it would be an interesting topic because I know it's something you enjoy.
Oh, it's something I know way too much about.
Yeah.
I don't have papers.
And I feel it's not even the matter that you can speak on it, as well as like you're passionate about it.
Friggin' live it for
and
God's sake.
I feel that it would be an interesting thing to do, and I would recommend it if you can.
Told you, man. I'm gonna be the next Morgan Freeman of podcasting.
You're not gonna be Morgan Freeman, noob.
Can I be Jay Leno?
I guess.
He's cool. He's a great talk show. I love watching him.
Grow your chin out a little bit and you'll be fine.
Gray my chin out or grow it out?
Grow.
Ooh, I don't know. I kind of like my oval face.
You gotta change rotten like.
No, but then I gotta change all my emotes, and I don't want to put the ProPoc T with like the hand 4 inches down.
You don't even need to do it for this one.
Don't post that. Oh, thank God.
I can't do it because it's not on the server.
First of all, it's OH, and second of all, it's not.
Yeah, I know it would autocomplete if it was actually
there. Oh, look at you not knowing. Oh, and so when people bash me for trying to type out my emails to practice every single code that they are, like, just use colons. Tim was doing that a lot to me. He's like, just use colons and it'll go faster. I'm like, you're right. And then when you try to autocomplete and not like this becomes not ATK, you're just like, huh?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless, know that the ProPokePodcast will be taking different directions. I'm really hoping with job acquisition and money acquisition and debt removal or some way, shape, and form to fuel the ProPokePodcast, I can actually get this up on podcast sites. You're listening to it right now. X day 2019. Yeah, it's going to be on 2019. That's all I can confirm. November, December 2019. I'm assuming November. I'm going to try and have you listening to me right now on a podcasting site, maybe 2. Try and get that going. YouTube's great, but I want to be on podcast sites. I think podcasts are fun. I love podcasts. If you guys ever, by the way, I'm going to start doing the plugging now. If you guys ever want me on a podcast for advice on education or how to educate educators, as well as public speaking, as well as communication concepts and sociological concepts, because I'm very much obsessed with human geography, make sure you hit me up at ProPokeNoob on Twitter, Instagram. You can also find me at twitch.tv/ProPokeNoob. Gamma, for the last time, but definitely not the last time, of 2019. Drop us those sick cabinet doorknobs.
What?
Because you still don't like handles.
Oh. Okay.
I'm trying to spare your feelings, okay? I don't want you to have to deal with those dang handles. Just go
All right, I'll do a
doorknobs.
quick rundown for the last time. Pocket Ace on YouTube. I do stuff there along with our good friend Boss, who is a very good editor, helps us out. We also do other stuff there, so keep posted. Hopefully something coming out soon. You can follow me on twitch.tv/AmaGamma. I do shiny hunting and just honestly whatever I feel like at the time. Twitter AmaGamma. I tweet stuff sometimes, mostly JoJo memes. Feel free to check that out if you want.
I can confirm I have not seen that many JoJo memes from him, and I do follow him.
Well, now I gotta fix that.
I mean, you just said you do that, so people are going to be going to your thing looking for JoJo memes. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
but
Gamma.
just
Did I
have to
force
look
you to
at
produce
history.
content?
Ow! Not again. No, he's flipped the reverse Uno. Oh God, why?
Last
All right,
card, sir.
I guess since this is the last one,
Mhm.
I will do a small little thank you guys for listening to this season, the ProPokePodcast. It's been fun to do. I know I'm not the most knowledgeable about Pokemon, even though I do enjoy it a lot. But yeah, thanks for hearing me out. Even it was fun, and I hope maybe next time, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe some shape or form we'll meet again. You know.
Gamma, of course, being the champion predictor, the Fantasy League winner, as well as the Show Me Your Moveset champion.
True. I do hope everybody understands that I'm being very I'm joking about winning that stuff, by the way. I'm not like actually,
You won, though.
No, I know I won, but it's not like I got a big head about it. I'm not actually like, oh yeah, I won. I did the fantasy draft.
If you have a big head, I'm the Zeppelin. I'm a friggin' Zeppelin when I win Nuzlocke, then. If you got a big head over winning something about a children's monster collecting fighting game.
Hey, it's a good game, okay?
Yeah, okay. It is.
There's new games.
It is. That's why we do a tournament about it, right? Yeah, that's totally why we do a tournament about it. Yes, of course.
Hey, you know what? It wouldn't be a bad idea. I might as well shout this out. If you guys have suggestions for the next ProPokeBowl, and you didn't end up putting it in the how what it called?
The feedback form?
The feedback form. Throw it in the comments if you have suggestions for something. You've heard everything that Noob had to say about the suggestions that were brought up. If there's something that wasn't brought up and you wanted to speak about it, feel free to throw it in the comments. I know Noob reads all the comments, so.
Oh yeah, I always read everything that everybody puts down. It's filled with knowledge and plenty of, again, because perspectives can even change a month later, especially after maybe hearing what I have to say about just even suggestions of certain things. So to get into my mind and then for me to be able to read your mind, if you don't know my teaching style, I'm very much a social-based teacher. That's not actually a concept, but I call it a social-based teacher, where I teach by knowing who I'm working with rather than just I teach based on the needs of the academics. Right, and I run my content. Gamma runs his content based on understanding the audience and understanding what you can do and what you want to do versus what the audience wants. And it doesn't mean it has to be a clash, but it does mean it has to be something that everyone is going to be at a relative kind of like meeting point to be able to produce the best thing you possibly can. Because at the end of the day, this is an interactive activity. It's an interactive tournament. It's a tournament. It's interactive, right? I want everybody to be as pleased as they can be. And if you are a person who maybe didn't see ProPokeBowl this year, happened across this podcast, and you know stuff about tournaments, I invite you to also hit me up, because the rules are out there. The rules are very accessible via Discord. They're accessible via my Twitch channel, and if you are interested in giving your own 5 cents, because we don't have that in Canada to have 2 cents anymore, if you do have any advice that you want to give, or if any involvement you want in future tournaments, please let me know. I'm always looking for people. I can't guarantee you it'll be a paid position. In fact, I will tell you it's not a paid position. But if you're looking to have some fun, maybe you want to become my friend. I'm always looking for new friends, or more friends. Sorry, not new, more friends.
He's looking to replace me. He didn't blink. He means it. He means it. Oh no. But yeah, no. This is the Pro Pokeball's not something that he could do without you guys. So it's everybody's participation and enjoyment that just fuels this thing. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool seeing that from the outside.
Like I said, season 1 would have been the last season if people did not like Pro Pokeball. That was a risk we took. Not even a risk. It was a suggestion from Doodlehumper69 back in like September 2015. And it all started from there. And then we started expanding it. I've had great seasons, had great champions. No 2 times yet. Every season still a unique champion. And it's been increasing. Like, it was always fun. And I can tell you it just keeps getting more and more fun the more that we get to do with it. And I should give one final spoiler. There might be a certain duckular enhancement in the future.
What?
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 What? Have you been playing a lot of Shield, mate?
I've been playing a lot of Mighty Lotus Shield. I got the Pokemons and I made them fight each other.
Crikey, I'm about to change my accents.
I don't know how to do accents, so it works out.
Same, I don't know. Someone called me out on one of my accents in Surge. Like, at least make them Scottish. You can tell they're Scottish. I'm like, I'm not assuming. I'm
not
just
Scotland.
No. Well, I'm almost not even that. I'm like, I'm not gonna assume people's looks for accents. I just choose accents that I know. Just like, these are the accents I know. Yes, the Windfish sounded like some psycho chick. I can't help that. It's just what came out at the time.
Leave the Windfish alone.
You mean Zelda?
It's not even a fish.
Or Marnie?
It's not even the wind.
You mean Marnie?
I don't know, I guess.
I just wanted to tilt a bunch of people who watched that playthrough. That's all. By the way, she's still on the beach. I haven't gone to get her yet. Nonetheless, thank you very much for watching, guys. And we will see you on the live show. Of course, twitch.tv/ProPokeNoob. You can find us in the TPA Pixelmon server when that is up and running again. And make sure that you stay tuned for more tournament news in the future. We'll be doing mini tournaments here and there, potentially, depending on what we can make work, as well as look towards a new season, look towards a new look for everything. Let's see what the future brings for us in 2020. Until then, thank you very much for listening for the final time for this year in 2019. Till then, take care and peace.
Later, Gators.
So what do you want to do now, Gamma?
I want to cry in a corner because I'm never going to be on the ProPokePodcast again.
Want to play odds?
Shit, yeah, I do.
Okay, fire it up. Let's go.
I don't want to play odds.